In more news, an article in the Wall Street Journal last week spotlighted a topic often ignored in the nation: the alarming abortion rate for African Americans in the United States. Wall Street Journal columnist Jason Riley wrote a piece last week titled, "Let's Talk About the Black Abortion Rate." Riley explored how in New York City, thousands more black babies are aborted than born alive each year. And he highlighted how on the national level, black women terminate pregnancies at far higher rates than other women. Look at these numbers. In 2014, black women made up 13% of the U.S. female population, but 36% of all abortions were performed on black women. I spoke on this exact topic, the alarming black abortion rate, with a pro-life leader earlier this year. Pastor Clenard Howard Childress Jr. is senior pastor of New Calvary Baptist Church and assistant to the director at Learn, the Life Education and Resource Network. He coined the phrase that the most dangerous place for an African American is in the womb. We go now to our interview with Pastor Childress to hear why.
Well, first, it's not hyperbole. It's not a radical rant from a right-wing reverend. It is a sociological fact. 52% of all African-American pregnancies end in abortion, 1,786 a day. And since 1973, over 20 million African-Americans have been killed by abortion alone. So it is not anything to be used lightly. It is a sociological fact, and it's happening on our watch, and I'm grieved over that.
And you are bringing that truth to the urban areas, speaking with young people. Tell us about your strategy and your technique.
Well, first, with today's young people, just be honest, sincere, and tell the truth. Don't be afraid of the differences in the generations, but unquestionably, they need to know that they've been lied to. And they need to know that this is a great deception that's being played out. And unquestionably, they need to know that it's going to affect them for the rest of their lives. Institutions like Planned Parenthood are targeting African Americans, women, as well as men who are a part of the problem also. But when you have a situation where it's going to affect your children later on, it's going to affect your ability to have children, it's going to affect your psychological view, indeed, on life itself. 85% of women who have abortions have some type of psychological malady. And so there's a lot of pain in our pews, and the clergy need to step up and recognize those women are in your pews. You need to shepherd them and sound the alarm of what's happening at the rate of 1,786 a day.
And you're doing that as pastor.
Yes, it has to be.
Right. You were heavily featured in a recent PBS documentary called The Anti-Abortion Crusaders Inside the African American Abortion Battle. Let's take a look at it.
We're going to talk about the notorious Planned Parenthood. You're being told to go to Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood has a plan for you, especially you young ladies. Planned Parenthood is taking it far beyond what the Ku Klux Klan ever thought they could possibly take it.
What did you make of PBS's frontline portrayal of the pro-life movement within the black community?
Well, I was pleasantly surprised at their fairness. And the key thing of that, one, is they said our data is true. Many people believe we're making up the data. And secondly, she noted that Margaret Sanger, the founding mother, so to speak, of Planned Parenthood, was a devout racist. And in this age of political correctness, if a historian who isn't even for the life movement and who is pro-choice, Ms. Greenleaf, says, indeed, Margaret Sanger is a racist, then why are we giving out the Margaret Sanger Award? Why is Planned Parenthood insisting that her bust stay in the portrait gallery at our Smithsonian? Those are taxpayer dollars going to support that. And in the age, once again, of political correctness and racial sensitivity, why are you upholding a devout racist as a role model for other women and other politicians?
It's shocking. And Pastor, talking about abortion is a tough issue on its own. And now we're throwing the race element into it. What advice do you have for our viewers so they can boldly speak the truth that abortion is hurting the black community?
Well, I often come from the civil rights perspective. I think we all have a common enemy, a common goal, common God. When talking with the African American community, we have to recognize that this is a segment of our community whose rights are being denied. It's the same platform Martin Luther King took. We are not holding these truths to be self-evident. That all mankind was created equal, endowed by the Creator, not mom or dad, but God, to certain inalienable rights, among these life, liberty, and the pursuit. There is over 20 million African Americans and over 50 or 60 million since 1973 that were denied the right, the access to the American dream. That's a great social injustice and something that the church should be grieving over.
Pastor Clenard Howard Childress Jr., thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me very much.